Good evening, my friends. This is Paul, and today I just tried out Fire Emblem Echoes for the first time, well, obviously, since its launch day. And after being thoroughly impressed with the usage of Amiibo in that game, especially considering the fact that it's a remake of an old Super Nintendo game, I decided to talk about Amiibo on the Wii U now that we've officially seen the end of the Wii U's Amiibo lineup, and my personal favorite and least favorite attempts at using Amiibo in Wii U games. Thankfully, I don't have that many games on my Wii U, so this shouldn't take long at all. First off, let's start with Super Smash Bros. For Wii U, the game that introduced these lovable little figures. If nothing else, they're just so detailed, like you can feel every little curve in Lucas's hair, and just wait until you get to some of the more detailed amiibos like Link and the Fire Emblem people. Anyway, if you have a character from the Super Smash Bros. Franchise, you can tap them on the NFC reader area of the Wii U gamepad and then have that fighter become your own figure player. Then you can fight them, you can have them fight for you, and gradually they level up as though you're playing an RPG and they become better fighters, eventually even surpassing level 9 computer opponents. Now, my brother and I tested this out. We found that there is a major problem once the amiibo gets to level 50, and that's they seem to have an incredible boost in attack and defense that's impossible to accomplish even if you're the best Super Smash Bros. Player ever. Thankfully, amiibo data can also transfer between systems, so say you play with this guy on the Wii U and think, I want to try it out on the 3DS version. You can still transfer the data as long as it's stored in this bottom part and just tap it to either the NFC reader if you're playing an old 3DS or straight on the touchscreen if you're playing a new 3DS. So overall, Smash Bros. For Wii U is a good way to sort of make your own computer player of sorts. Next, we're going to talk about Splatoon. Now, I haven't really beaten Splatoon yet, but I have gotten a chance to try out the Amiibo. I also have the Inkling Boy and the Inkling Squid, but I decided to show the Inkling Girl because she's personally my favorite. And what I like about Splatoon is that you have a chance to earn a ton of extra gold and custom weapons and whatnot by tapping one of these guys, and then they'll come to life within the plaza. And then you get additional missions for levels you've already beaten in the single player mode. I've also been told that once you complete every single one of the 3 characters' missions, you get a special minigame that you can play, so that'll give me incentive to keep playing my Wii U after Breath of the Wild's DLC has wrapped up. Next, let's get Link. So, in Hyrule Warriors Legends, scanning Link, or pretty much any Link amiibo, like I'm pretty sure this guy would also register just as much, you can get the spinner as an unlockable weapon for Link, which if you don't know where that's from, it's from The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. And the special effects used are absolutely stunning. Definitely well worth getting this. But even if you have any Zelda amiibo, it can give you a grunt from the corresponding character and something that somewhat correlates to the character, like a rapier for Zelda or something like that. Minimalistic, yes, but cool, absolutely. Now let's move on to Mario Kart. So, in Mario Kart 8, you can scan almost every amiibo to get an unlockable costume for the Mii fighters, or Mii racers, sorry. The problem with the amiibo usage in Mario Kart 8 is that it's so ridiculously limiting. It only allows a certain number of amiibos to have costumes for it, and even when they re-released Mario Kart 8 on the Switch, the only additional costume you could unlock was a Splatoon-based one. So I got Luigi and Link to work, but even my super rare Ike amiibo does absolutely nothing in Mario Kart 8, and plus it's only cosmetic, so that's kind of a boring usage in my opinion. Excuse me. Now let's talk about Amiibo Tap, Nintendo's greatest bits. So here's an excuse to show off my Pit amiibo. So basically, it doesn't really matter which amiibo that you have, as long as you have one. You tap it on the gamepad, and then you'll get a random demo of an NES or Super NES game. And there's 10 scenes that you can play, so you don't have to go through the whole entire game, and you just keep tapping the amiibo every time you want to switch scenes. Now, if you bought the amiibo before you get Amiibo Tap, that's great. But otherwise, it's just a showcase to show off NES and Super NES games that you can probably already get in the Wii U eShop, and in some cases the 3DS eShop. So really, it's just a convenient excuse to use a bunch of Amiibos if you have them for other games and are like, might as well get a couple of old games, see where these guys are from. Like, where did Pit come from if the game is called Kid Icarus, for example? Now, moving on to Breath of the Wild, which I'm sure you're all excited about. So, tapping any Breath of the Wild series amiibo onto the gamepad will unlock special weapons and items based on the character you scan. So for instance, say you scan Zelda right here, you'll probably get something like more arrows or a royal shield, something Zelda related. If you have any of the 30th anniversary Zelda amiibo, the only one I'm missing is 8-bit Link. You get a random assortment of, let me see if I can remember the order, meat, fish, and plants, something like that. And you also get special items and objects that aren't attainable in the main game. Like with Toon Link, I managed to get the Cap of Wind, or was it the Tunic of Wind? I was able to get some of his attire. He was able to give me some of his attire. And also regular Zelda amiibos were just fine. So, in the case of Link here, I was able to unlock Epona as a rideable horse, which was, of course, super awesome. Now, of course, Breath of the Wild uses any amiibo, so you can grab Ike right here, who sadly doesn't get his own standalone usage in a Wii U title that I know of, except maybe Yoshi's Woolly World. But you can tap just a random amiibo to get just an odd assortment of materials. Eventually, if you have like a super ridiculous amount of amiibo like I do, you can just keep tapping so many of them and basically have unlimited supplies and turn Breath of the Wild into a stupid easy game. Now you're probably wondering, well, Paul, you left out Twilight Princess HD. Well, that's because it ties into Breath of the Wild, so it's a good segue. Now, these are the amiibo that you can use in Twilight Princess HD. If you have Ganondorf, you can turn the game into basically a super hard mode. If you scan this guy in normal mode, it turns every enemy into giving you double damage without having to play the Wii version of the world's orientation. If you scan Zelda, any kind of Zelda or a Sheik amiibo will do. This one worked just fine for me. You can restore your hearts, and if you scan a Link or Toon Link amiibo, you can get your arrows refilled. You can only use all these amiibos once a day, so say you mess up with the Ganondorf amiibo, then you'll unfortunately have to wait until the next day to have a hard mode again. Oh, and you can also make it super hard mode if you're already playing in hero mode. Then it quadruples the damage you take. Now, regarding Wolf Link, I decided to save the best, I guess that's a loose term, for last. So, tapping the Wolf Link amiibo in Twilight Princess HD automatically gets you the Cave of Shadows. Now, I didn't beat the entire thing, but I beat enough of it to be able to test how effective Wolf Link is in Breath of the Wild. Basically, it's like the Cave of Ordeals, but you have to stay a wolf the whole time. And every time you get to a save point in the dungeon, you'll be asked to scan the Wolf Link amiibo so that it keeps track of the number of hearts you had left. And then when you place Wolf Link in Breath of the Wild, then he'll accompany you, albeit without Midna on his back, so we'll just pretend that she doesn't exist. He'll accompany you, he'll fight enemies, he'll eat the meat that's dropped to refill his own health, and he just serves as a companion in a Zelda game that doesn't have a companion character. Now, if you don't own Twilight Princess HD and haven't tried the Cave of Shadows, this guy is probably a waste of time, but you can still get a Wolf Link themed Mystery Mushroom character in Super Mario Maker with him. So most of the amiibo that I've covered will be used in Super Mario Maker to get a sprite, so that's another really good usage. Anyway, there are other games on the Wii U that use amiibo, but those are my favorite and least favorite of the games that I have played. Would I say that Amiibo as a whole are worth it? Well, it depends on what you're playing, but if you're playing Breath of the Wild, I would say that that's my current favorite, and I guess my ultimate favorite since the Wii U is dead, usage of Amiibo, merely for the fact that especially if you get the Zelda ones, like Ganondorf and Link, you can get exclusive weapons, costumes, and horses that are either hard or impossible to get otherwise. So thank you very much for watching. Let me know if there are any other videos you'd like me to do. And until the next time, keep the faith, stay epic, and God bless. Bye.